Hey guys, it's Rodimus Primal. I'm back in another video, and today I am going to give you guys a spoiler-free review for X-Men Dark Phoenix. I'm going to give you the good, the bad, what I thought about it, and, but at the same time I'm going to keep it as spoiler-free as I possibly can. So sit back, relax, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Alright guys, so I'm on the fence with this one. This one is supposed to try and fix all of the problems. This was the culmination of all the X-Men movies, starting with X-Men First Class, which was kind of like a reboot in a sense, that Days of Future Past basically undid the X-Men movies that came out in the 2000s. And this is supposed to be the closure now because Disney now finally controls 20th Century Fox. And I don't say finally as in a good thing, because I don't know if the MCU is going to make proper room for the X-Men or the Fantastic Four or any of those properties. So we knew going in that Dark Phoenix was going to be like, this was going to be like the closing movie for the franchise. I think that they've got one more. I think they got the New Mutants. But I don't know where they're going to go with that. But this is supposed to be that closure to the X-Men. And it kind of does feel that way. And in a way, it was... I don't know. It starts off, and, if you've seen the trailers or anything else like that, you know that, basically, Jean Grey gets her Phoenix powers. It's adapting the Phoenix Saga and the Dark Phoenix Saga, which were, two... main storylines. Pretty much it was 37 issues worth of comic books, trying to mash that into the whole Phoenix Saga, to try and get all of that into it. And I don't think it did a great job, in my opinion, as far as trying to adapt it. It starts off and it adapts it, and she gets her powers, but then it completely goes into a complete deviation. And the reason I say that is because even the X-Men animated series did a decent job of trying to adapt it. This should have been 2 movies. Because the main problem I have is this is coming off of the heels of X-Men Apocalypse. And X-Men Apocalypse, first of all, it was Power Rangers villain, and all of a sudden we're trying to bring in all of these different characters, make them good, make them bad, make them more powerful, make them be able to do more things. And that was kind of Apocalypse's thing. And now you have these people who are now part of the X-Men. They were just introduced in Apocalypse, and now they've been on the team for so long. I had some major issues with some of the characters, kind of stemming from the ending of X-Men Apocalypse. Is that I know it's a different continuity, but I never liked the idea of turning Mystique into from an anti-hero to a villain for a little while, and all of a sudden now she's part of the X-Men. Never really cared for that, because in the comics they did it for a short stint, and then they realized that Mystique was not really so good. It's kind of like if you're a Transformers fan and bringing Swindle, and trying to trust him, and then watch him betray you. It's just kind of part of their nature. These are people who, no matter how much you try to do them good, they end up turning on you. And that's something that I saw with Mystique, that, they were doing it for a reason. And it kind of is with how the movie ends. The movie ends in such a way that, it almost feels like they were pushing this whole shift, because they don't and I don't really want to do this. I don't want to talk about politics, but they want to change the name of X-Men. That's what they want to do. They want to take the name of X-Men out, so that they can change the name of it. And I don't want to get into the politics of it, but I honestly feel like this is what they're doing, because they're taking away from the superhero group that was created. And I don't really care for it, because, you're basically, it's almost as if Hollywood didn't like the X-Men to begin with. They didn't like them back in the 2000s, so they changed their costumes. I couldn't find a way to make Wolverine's mask fit the way that it was supposed to, so we never wore it. We couldn't figure out a way to make Cyclops a good character for how many movies? And finally, in this movie, I will say, this is where I will say some of the good stuff about the movie. Cyclops does have a character arc. He does feel like a more of a complete character shift from the Cyclops of years past. Like in X-Men Apocalypse, it was kind of like his like beginnings, and this is where it was like this is kind of closer to the comic book version of Cyclops in difference to the way that Cyclops is portrayed in the movies. Which here's my opinion about Cyclops, the way he's been portrayed in the movies. X-Men the animated series always wrote Cyclops to become somewhat kind of a jerk, and it's not really the fault of the writers. It was really because like they were kind of like they really liked Storm and Wolverine, so they wrote Cyclops to kind of be like this bossy jerk, and sometimes he is, but he wasn't that much of a bossy jerk. He had better storytelling, let's say, in the X Factor comics, and the movies picked up Cyclops and went, oh, he's that jerk that's supposed to be the leader. Well, we're just going to make him even more of a jerk. He was just basically in the way of Wolverine. And here they actually do a really good job of actually like bringing his character into a different light. There is a surprise in this movie that when it happened, I was kind of like, I didn't feel anything for it. I almost felt like it was kind of like a throwaway thing that ended up happening. I didn't feel emotion that I should have. I really do like the actress who plays Phoenix. She seems like the script held her back. There were so many things they could have done with the movie, with her character, with Phoenix, with her, because she really felt like she could have been this amazing Phoenix, but she was completely held back. And they did it because they were too busy trying to set up these new villains, and these villains are not even like at all connected to the comics. They're not even connected to the comics. It seems like that they merged the Hellfire Club and the Shi'ar Empire and merged them into one like alien group that's kind of like the same thing, if that makes any sense. And then it turns in, because you can't make a space mission be a space mission. Like I don't know. Like I know I'm like not really like being so good about not keeping the spoilery stuff, because I don't want to spoiler what happened in the ending. There are some callbacks to the original X-Men films, like the first 3 X-Men movies. There's some callbacks to that stuff. There are some things that like link into certain things, but at the end of the day, like I don't know, like I like the movie. The movie felt like, if I was not a fan of the X-Men comic books, and if I was not a fan of the even seeing the X-Men animated series, which was a good introduction to the comic books for me, it wasn't what the thing that introduced me to the comics, but it was something that like kind of like reinforced some of the stories, because they adapted a lot of the stories in the animated series pretty well. But the thing is that this movie, if I didn't have any of that knowledge going in, I might have liked this movie more. And being like, if you're an X-Men fan at all, like whether you're a fan of like anything, I think it kind of like detracts from it. I really wanted to like it. I came out of the movie theater feeling like, yeah, it wasn't the worst X-Men movie, and it really wasn't. It's not the worst X-Men movie. I've seen the worst X-Men movie before, and I'm glad that this is not it. This is a close of the chapter for the 20th Century Fox version of X-Men. And to be honest with you, I'm glad that it's gone. Like, it's not one of those where, like, oh, it was like, it's a bittersweet ending and stuff like that. Like, I don't feel the same emotion that I feel like with Endgame, where, like, the story closes, now it's over, and now we can move on to other things. I don't feel like I want to come back for it anymore. But I know now that this is the end for 20th Century Fox, or X-Men in that regard. So where they go with it, I guess, I don't know. Like I'm hoping to see better X-Men movies in the future made, now that they're part of Disney. Maybe it'll be part of the MCU. I don't know how they're going to work the X-Men into the MCU or any of that stuff. But really, like, I don't hate this movie. It's not like Transformers: The Last Night, where you kind of like, you walk out and you're like, did I like it? Did I not like it? No, and then you end up going through like a roller coaster of emotions. This one is kind of like, I don't really care for the film. It's worth seeing if you're a fan of the X-Men films, But if you're a fan of the comic books, you're going to be mad, you're going to be upset, you're going to be angry because you're going to really think that they kind of desecrated on the source material. There are also there are a couple elements where they sprinkle in some things that are from the comics, and I was like, okay, that's all right, that's cool. I like that. I don't care for that. But at the end of the day, I was like, man, I'm so glad that 20th Century X-Men movies are finally over, and we can kind of put it to rest and kind of put it to bed. You know, and the actors themselves, a lot of them, you know, played really good roles. Some of the characters felt like that they were neglected. They were completely neglected for, you know, where they should have been a main part of the story, like they have been in First Class and Days of Future Past and Apocalypse. So, you know, you kind of are going to see that as you watch the movie. I hope this has been as spoiler free as I possibly can, because I'm trying to give you guys like a rundown of the film. The way that it ended, it felt to me like it is exactly where they want to go in the direction of X-Men, is that X-Men are over. So I guess this is it. So I want to know what you guys think. Did you guys see X-Men Dark Phoenix? You know, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, be sure to thumbs up and subscribe, and check out my other videos as well. I've got more stuff down the pipeline. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.